Yes people, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on 100% Chelsea. Another episode of 100% World Cup with me, Ian. So, the third round of games has just finished. Couple of fallers from the Chelsea boys. We're going to get into that all very quickly. But before we do any of that, let's talk very quickly, because we keep doing it. It's been a very strange week this week, because very simply, two games have been played at the same time in all the games, and it's kind of hard to keep up with who did this and who did what. So it's going to be a very tough video. But very simply, let's go on the people that didn't play. Didn't play at all. So, Caballero, after the howlers he has had in recent games, he did not play. Hazard was rested in the England-Belgium game. Rudiger was dropped from the Germany game, which eventually saw them out, which is an English fan. It's the best news ever, but unfortunate for Rudy. And Azpilicueta did not play for Spain. Out the way, done. Let's now talk about each individual performance. We're going to go through it in order, alphabetical order of what happened, rather than doing teams that played in an order and how they played, because some of them played at the same time. It's very confusing. So let's just go alphabetical order, the teams that played. So we're starting off with Belgium. Belgium played England last night. And Courtois played in goal, played full 90 minutes, kept a clean sheet. In a game that, as an England fan, we kind of wanted to lose. So basically it almost works out quite well for us. He kept a clean sheet, had a couple of testers but nothing massive. He got a fingertip to a Rashford shot round the post. He looked okay. He looked fine, just a standard performance really. The one thing I will say is the fact that the back line in front of him for Belgium and for Chelsea is normally very good. Where the back line in front of him last night wasn't necessarily the best back line in the world, and he still managed to do okay. So I'm not Courtois' biggest fan. I think sometimes he get helped by having a brilliant defence in front of him, but when he didn't necessarily have that brilliant defence, he still did all right. So that is Courtois. Hazard, as I said, was rested. Batshuayi was okay actually. It was a strange one because it was an odd one because the best result for both teams playing did not really want to win the group, but there was an element of obviously we want to try and play well and keep some sort of momentum. So it was kind of a strange one. But Batshuayi as a whole did enough in the game, I suppose. He didn't really cause much trouble to the centre-backs. The threat looked like more it was coming from wide than anywhere for Belgium. But very simply, the one thing he did do was kick the ball into his own face off the post, which if you haven't seen it, it's going around on social media. It's absolutely hilarious. I might try and put it as a thumbnail for this video, I'm not sure. But yeah, no, it was entertaining, I must admit. I love Batshuayi, but really the only thing he really did in the game was make everyone laugh by kicking the ball off the post into his own face after the goal in celebration. I don't know. I don't understand how kicking a ball in a goal is a celebration, but there we are. Batshuayi didn't really do a great deal. Did enough, but nothing stand out or ooh or whatever. I actually put him in my fantasy team, which was a bad idea, put it that way. So let's go on from Belgium now and let's talk about Brazil. Willian played 90 minutes and to be honest with you wasn't really effective. They won 2-0. They beat Switzerland? No, Serbia. Sorry, they beat Serbia 2-0, and they were Brazil as a whole, there seems like they're finding ways to grind out results, which is doing them quite well. It's not necessarily doing certain players well, but it's doing them well when they can progress into latter stages, which is what they have done. They need to find a real flow and a real form, so not going to think too much into it. But we are going to talk about Willian, and he just looks isolated out on the right-hand side. They play a 4-3-3. Obviously, Brazil are famous for playing a 4-3-3. And they played him out wide on the right, and everything just went through Neymar. It had to go through Neymar or Coutinho, and they both drifted to the left, and it just left Willian there doing sod all, really. He didn't do a great deal. It's a kind of team that you can imagine being in and being in positive vibes, but as a fan who doesn't support Brazil, I have a small little soft spot for them, but I don't support them. It was very much like, it was almost like it was annoying. It was demoralising to see him, and there was one or two others not really get on the ball at all, which was a shame. But hopefully he can start to find his form, start to get involved in the games. He had one or two chances. One he blazed over the bar, but didn't. It just wasn't really his day. Hasn't been his tournament so far, really, which is unfortunate. But again, we will see what happens with Willian, because I mean, he's a player that I think many of us like at Chelsea. He's exciting to watch. He's brilliant to watch. Anything can happen with him. So hopefully he will find his form. One person we will move on to is Andreas Christensen, who we all know as a centre-back. However, in the game, in the most dull game of football I possibly have ever seen, the France game, they drew 0-0. It was dull. It was dull. All round dull. Dull, 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 dull. And Christensen played in midfield. The coach came out and said, I'm not going to get this exactly word for word right, said that Christensen is a very good defender, but he has more chance to progress, and he will progress more with his talent if he plays in midfield, which is what we did against France. The game itself was pretty much dead rubber, because they all knew that both teams knew they were going through. Denmark are happy to qualify in second, because that now means they're on the better side of the draw. France basically already won the group, so it was semi-pointless. Oh, postman. So it was already semi-pointless, but it was an annoying game for a neutral to watch. I have to say, I kind of kept my eyes actually on the Peru-Australia game. I just found it more interesting than a really dull, boring fixture. For what I saw of the game, Christensen played all right in midfield. He just knocked the ball around, kind of like someone who was told to do a job there. Didn't do anything phenomenal, didn't do anything massively fancy. Just okay. Can't really say a lot other than that, so it's kind of a shame. But they're into the next round. They play, I think it's Croatia they play next, which would be very, very interesting to see what happens with that. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go and back to centre-half in that game. I hope he would anyway. But that's enough on Christensen. It was a pretty dull, boring game. I'm going to very quickly actually get the France guys out of the way. Kante and Giroud. 0-0 with Denmark. Again, it's the same game. It was boring. It was boring. Kante played all right. Giroud played all right. Didn't really do anything massive in the game. It really was quite a dull game. There's not a massive deal you can talk about it, but it's just the fact that I can all talk about it in one little segment. They were just there, really. They were just there. Which is bad, and I'd love to give you a bit more in-depth analysis, but they were just there. Both teams knew that the game was kind of dead and buried and whatever, and no one really cared. A goal really was needed in that game to kind of spark it into life. It really needed a Denmark goal, but it's done now. It's finished. They've qualified. Expect to see better things from Giroud and Kante in the round of 16. Just going to cover them quickly. Now let's come on to England. Now one person I'll talk about first is Gary Cahill, who played centre-half, played 90 minutes in the back three with Stones and then Maguire in the second half, and Phil Jones, who, as a pair, or as a trio, none of them really worked, really. It was quite annoying. He played on the left-hand side of the back three. I personally prefer him in the middle because he's more of a ball player, but that's to be debated and argued and such. He made one goal line clearance when Pickford dropped the ball, or someone went into Pickford. He made one goal line clearance which came from absolutely nothing. It just wasn't. It wasn't a brilliant performance by him. It wasn't a bad performance. It was just a. It was a really dull game, only because we knew what we wanted to do, and in terms of an England fan, we did it, simple as, which was come second in the group. So it happens. One person we will now talk about, and I'll talk about in a bit more depth, is Loftus-Cheek. Was on a booking, so I was surprised to see him play yesterday, but he was risked. He didn't get booked, so he's not suspended, but he received a lot of abuse, and I think, to be fair, some of it's some of it is almost due. He didn't play as well last night as he did in the Panama game. I don't think he's quite ready on a big stage yet. The World Cup is obviously a very big tournament, and playing against one of the best sides in it, as per Belgium, and that was the second string side. They just didn't really seem to get into the game. The England midfield as a whole was poor, but Loftus-Cheek didn't really do anything. He didn't carve anyone open. He didn't try to play any crucial balls. It was almost as if we have been told that this is all this and this is all that. And before the game, I said that I'd have been happy with a draw or with a loss because it means we finished second in the group. But when we went behind, it was the fact that we were so poor, and I think a lot of people expected England to try and show a bit of fight and show a bit of grit to possibly, go on, maybe not get the win, but inspire a bit and keep a bit of momentum going. And Loftus-Cheek didn't have any part to play in that. I actually thought he was quite poor. I wasn't really that fussed with him. And I don't be surprised to see him come out of the squad for the game against Colombia, which is on Tuesday. So didn't look anything like himself. He was pretty poor. But hopefully that can change around and we can get England can get the most out of him. Now let's talk about Germany. Rudiger obviously dropped. Hilarious that they've gone out. It is funny. It is funny. I think possibly what Germany could have needed was someone like Rudiger, who would have could have driven the ball out essentially. But I think as a whole, Germany were annoyingly bad actually, because the way I would say annoyingly bad is because they were bad, but they somehow managed to keep themselves in it for so long. Which was due to the back line being able to deal with Korea's very light attacks. But very simply, we're going to move on from the Germany game. Rudiger could have made an impact in that game, I think, but wouldn't have won it for him. Simple as. Maybe wouldn't have conceded the 2 goals, but still would have struggled to go through. So let's go on to Kenneth Amaro and Victor Moses for Nigeria. Moses scored a penalty in the game against Argentina, which was a very tough game. I keep calling him Kevin. Kenneth Amaro was subbed for Iwobi right at the end of the game to try and force some sort of a comeback, but very simply, I think he struggled a bit to cope with the likes of Messi and certain bits of the movement that were going around. It wasn't necessarily a bad game from him, it was just a very tough game, and I think the quality of Argentina, who have been poor at this World Cup, needed to get a result, and they know how to do it. Fair play to them. So it was always going to be not a struggle, but it was going to be a tough game. But anyway, Nigeria are out, unfortunately. Moses is also out. Of course he is, both for Nigeria. Tough game, they will be disappointed with that, and I'm disappointed that I don't get to see that gorgeous shirt anymore, which is a big shame. Dave is out. Dave is out. Dave did not play, and I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't expect to see him play unless it is a hang on for dear life. We've got 5 minutes left and we're 1-0 up kind of thing for Spain. It was a very interesting game actually, the Spain game against Morocco. 2-2. They looked a bit 50-50 at times, so it could be quite interesting to see what happens with Spain. They're on the good side of the draw as well, so you could see them progress on, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to be I'm pretty sure that Dave ain't going to be playing at all in this World Cup. So that is going to be it from me. What can I predict for the round of 16? From the Chelsea boys we've got in, I can see... I can't see Willy Caballero going through with Argentina. I can see all the Belgian boys going through. I can see Brazil going through. Who has Denmark got? Denmark have got Croatia. I don't expect to see Christensen go through. I expect to see England go through. France will go through. Spain will go through. So there's a couple of people we will have in the quarterfinals at least. So, thank you very much for watching. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to my channel. The link will be down in the description. Yeah, I'm going to be doing definitely one of these for after the last 16 games, quarterfinals, and then depends on who we have in it. Depends on how long we go, and hopefully we're going to have someone in the final. And for me, hopefully it's one of the England boys. So yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to my channel down below, and we'll see you back here for more content on 100% Chelsea. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.